Today's big interview, Rob Hersov. Well, Rob, just over a year ago, I would have had to go into all of your pedigree and background and said, well, this is who he is. And he worked overseas. He got a Harvard MBA and so on and so on. No longer. You're now very, very famous. I see you hitting the talk show circuit, as it were, having quite a number of very, very interesting discussions. I love the one you had recently with Gareth Cliff, for instance.
You've made me, Alec. BizNews has made me. I'm part of the BizNews family, and I think BizNews family loves me. I'm not sure other people do.
No, when we have a look at the recording of your keynote at BNC4, and you've got 350,000 people who've watched it, and thousands, literally thousands of people taking the trouble to write a comment underneath to say, thank you, Rob. You go, Rob. We've had many inquiries from people, very sensible people, saying, how do I help you? How do I get to help you to fulfill your vision? You've touched something in society. BNC2, over a year ago, you started it off. That keynote certainly did shake up a lot of cages or rattle cages, but this one has really just gone viral. How's it been from your side, though?
You know, I think I've got used to it, because the first time it happened, it was a horror show. I mean, I was not used to being in a maelstrom like that of threats and praises and people walking up to me for selfies and others threatening to kill me. And I kind of used to it by now. So, but you made me, Alec. BizNews made me. What can I say?
Well, I thank you very much. I appreciate that. But we have a platform, and it is those who we have the platform. We offer the platform to people, and in your case, you started off at BNC4 saying you're not sure why you're doing this again, why you're putting your neck out there again, why you're saying these things again. Do you now know?
I do know. I'm saying and doing these things because most people can't afford to say and do them. And that's my father's quote. But, you know, there are others like Neil Froneman and other great people standing up, and more so now. Even Jason McCormick, who's a part of the BizNews family, said he's starting to get a lot punchier in his speeches. I love to hear that. But I think, Alec, the one thing is I've taken a lot of hits for being critical, banging the ANC, and not really offering enough solutions. And I do think I have offered solutions, you know, a whole new cabinet of experts and things like that. But, you know, I do have something up my back sleeve, if that's the expression, back pocket, up my sleeve.
Which I want to talk to you about in a moment. But man, your endorsement of Gayton McKenzie at the BizNews conference, are you feeling a little concerned about it now? It's certainly the behavior that we know. All right, first level thinking, everything we see that's happening in Johannesburg looks like Gayton McKenzie and his PA guys have put the ANC back into power there just to continue with their plundering and pilfering. I know you're a fan of his, or you have said you're a fan of his. Am I missing something, or are we as the public missing something on that?
I think you are. And it's not for me to say it, but I know the man, and he is a libertarian, capitalist, anti-communist, extraordinary human being. He is on the side of good. But I think between now and 2024, you know, the smaller parties have to flex their muscles. They have to use sharp elbows to be noticed and to gain market share. And, you know, the PA, Action SA, and VF Plus and Inkatha are the four parties gaining a lot of market share right now. But if my instinct's right, at the right time, he's on the good guy's side.
So the move to oust the Democratic Alliance and let the ANC, who we know have been plundering in Johannesburg, to come back, is that a means to an end, or how are you reading it?
I read it that way. Let's see. There's water to come under the bridge.
Rob, last time you had your keynote at the BizNews conference, you were immediately contacted by some of those that you criticized. This time round, you once again named names, particularly some politicians. Has your phone been ringing?
It has. Gwede Mantashe called me, and we're going to meet. I think actually we're going to meet this week. I loved his expression. He said, Rob Hersov is mischievous. That's a lovely expression. You know, I thought I was a bit more maverick than that. So he and I are going to meet. You know, capitalist meets communist. It's kind of weird in this modern day. And many others have reached out to me. A lot of them are absolutely pissed off with me, but that suits me fine.
How are you going to connect with Gwede? And I'm going to tell you a little story. I was at dinner when we used to have a thing called the Bantla. It feels like 100 years ago, but it was only like 12, 15 years ago. And at one of the dinners, Gwede was our speaker. And I was sitting between him, as you do as the host, and Mark Lamberti, who is also a capitalist. And the two of them, after the speech, just couldn't connect. Mark would say one thing and Gwede would come from a completely different angle. They are in such different universes. How are you going to bridge that divide?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I mean, it's going to have to be on the spot. But he and I actually do agree on a number of things. One, we need to use our fossil fuels. We can't be bullied by greenies. I do think he also agrees that we need to have gas to power, used to be called fracking, and uranium mining and small modular reactors. That's the future. But I mean, his thinking is the state does everything, and my thinking is private enterprise does everything. So how we bridge that gap, who knows? But I'm looking forward to our chat.
Well, it's great to start from a basis that you do agree on, and those do seem, certainly with the energy deficiency in South Africa and around the world, to be a very smart basis. But what have you got up your sleeve, Rob? Well, how are you going to take all this good, all this opening up of hearts to the next level?
So for me anyway, I don't want to be in politics, and I'm not looking for any special privileges from anyone. You know, I'm happy to bid for licenses. If I lose them, I lose them. If I win them, I win them. So the more I think about it is, you know, more and more of the opposition political parties are kind of embarrassed to be seen with me or associated with me. You know, there was Herman Mashaba went out in the press today to say, we haven't got any money from Rob Hersov. Well, I think I've given them money. I can't even remember. So everyone's trying to distance themselves from me. I'm just too maverick.
Sorry, I've got to come in there quickly. Herman Mashaba follows at Rob Hersov on Twitter. And at
it's a fake
Rob Hersov. Yeah, fake account.
It's fake. I'm not on Twitter. So could everyone on the show please report that? It's a fake account.
So Herman follows at Rob Hersov. At Rob Hersov yesterday said you must basically, Zuma's right to have a go at Karen Morn, which is not something you would ever do.
No.
But that could be a miscommunication. I'd pick up the phone to him and say, what the hell are you up to? Because that's shocking, though, isn't it? That Twitter will allow people just to, imposters, to take your name, put your picture there. It happened to me in the past, so I know a little bit about how ridiculous this gets, and then start abusing it.
The funniest thing is, whoever this person is that's impersonating me, he's got 20-odd thousand followers. So I need to fix that. But what have I got up my sleeve? There is an incredible technology, and I mentioned it at the BizNews conference in Drakensberg, called blockchain. A lot of people don't understand what it is, but it's just an underlying distributed ledger technology that confirms a buy and a sell forevermore. If you think about it that way, so what? Well, so what is three things. One, crypto. You couldn't have crypto without the blockchain. You know, I'm selling you a digital a store of value or coin or cash. There's got to be a record of it, and that's where blockchain comes in. Secondly, NFTs. People go, I don't get NFTs, non-fungible tokens, a piece of digital art. But all it really is a certificate, ownership, provenance, legacy, countenance. And then you have DAOs, DAO, decentralized autonomous organizations. It is what it says it is. And these manifestations can only happen with the blockchain, okay? And my depth of knowledge on these things is about what I've just told you, okay? But conceptually, I've seen what it can be. And because South African government has failed us miserably, I mean, we went through the list of state-owned enterprises and municipalities that they've destroyed, it would take us an hour. So we can't go on. we need governance, but not government. And the beauty about a decentralized autonomous organization, and I've helped found one called newsouthafrica.org. It's newsouthafrica.org. And we already have, I think, 12,000 signups in 4 days. Is there's no leader, there's no president, CEO, marketing officer, finance director. Everyone who's a member votes. Everyone who's a member can put proposals forward. And if the proposals get voted through by the other members, they get funded. So what we could do is deliver Wi-Fi, for example, deliver Wi-Fi to townships and homeless settlements. We could issue passports and visas, which could be, recognized by other countries. We could, you could just let your imagination run wild. But I founded these 15 principles. And the 15 principles in newsouthafrica.org are basically libertarian, capitalist, free market, non-racial, merit-based, all the things the BizNews family would agree with. And if you don't believe in those 15 principles or any one of them, don't join us. Or you're doing something corrupt or evil, don't join us because the blockchain will reveal it all. So we're looking to get 80,000, 800,000, 8 million South Africans and friends of South Africa to join. And then we will have a very powerful movement, non-political, to do very good things. And the one very good thing is to get the ANC out in 2024.
It's intriguing to say the least. Would you then, let's just say you have 800,000 people who sign up to newsouthafrica.org. How would you then decide on, for instance, how to vote or which political party to support?
So we won't support a political party because this is a non-political organization. But how we vote, the governance structure is being created. We're building it now. It's going to take 3 months to build, but we're getting people coming in and signing up as members. And the governance structure will be voted on by the members. So, for example, we could say that everybody gets one vote, but the more money you contribute, you earn more votes up to a limit. So the wealthy people can't game the system. So let's say it's 20 to 1. I put in 10 million rand, you put in 1,000 rand. I still only get 20 more votes than you. Evens it out. We could say you earn credits by doing good, helping other people, or by putting proposals forward that get voted on and approved. So we're going to create this circle of trust where good people who believe in these values work together for the good of South Africa. And we're doing societal change because if South Africa if it was an economic problem South Africa had, we'd have a business solution. But it's a societal problem. The country's collapsing. We need a whole new system of governance, service delivery, and this is it.
You're going to turn Pretoria apoplectic. They would see this as a parallel structure, as a parallel state. If you were to leave 800,000, 8 million people, or 16 million people to join newsouthafrica.org, well, you could literally change the government.
Well, I think what we could do is change society. So I'll give you one little example. So somebody asked me a question, said, Rob, like the people you're getting are professionals, educated people who kind of understand what blockchain is, people who could contribute, 100 rand a month or 100,000 a month. What about the people that have no money, that are in poverty because of the ANC? Well, the projects that this DAO can do could be very much focused on educating the impoverished, bringing them services. We've got ideas that could help them understand how important it is to register and to vote. We won't say who they have to vote for, but we'll say you must register, you must vote, and you should vote for change. But we won't push any specific political party.
But I can also see immediately people thinking, oh, it's pie in the sky. It's too big it's far too ambitious a project. I'm sure your advisors and the people around you who've discussed this with you would have raised a few of those ideas. What makes you feel that you can actually make it work?
So firstly, I've got 30, 40, 50 volunteers who've come out of nowhere to say, well, we love this idea, we'll build it with you. All volunteers. But secondly, there's a book called The Nation State, which was written a few years ago, that said, with technology, you can create a new country, a new tribe, a new network of people that don't have a territory, but share values. And that's what we're building. So this could start with South Africa, but it could expand internationally.
How much money do you have to contribute to participate in this?
So we don't know yet, but I think what we're going to do is we're all working for free at the moment, and everyone's happy to do it because it's to save South Africa. But at a certain point, we are going to have to raise money, and I think there are three ways of doing it. The one is all members contribute something, 100 Rand a month, 10,000 Rand a month. One. Secondly, they're going to be project proposals that are put up, voted on, and maybe the top 5 or 6 proposals, like free Wi-Fi to the homeless settlements, those will get donations from people, but also external people will go, that's a great idea, I'll put money into it. And the third is this big database of international South Africans and friends of South Africa that I'm building, and we're about 1,400 names. And I'm going to say to them, my original idea was to do a super PAC, but just too complicated. Have a look at this DAO, and look at the proposals and projects we want to do. Why not put money into this? This is the vehicle. So I have a feeling this could happen. Now, I love pie in the sky because the first person I ever tell my pie in the sky stories to is my wife. And she goes, why don't you lie down and let the feeling go away? And that was a year ago, but we're now doing it.
So it's on the way, newsouthafrica.org. You go on there, you sign up as if you agree to the 15 values. If your values align with those 15, what happened if there's guys there that sign up who are Trojan horses, who don't really agree to the values? Is there going to be a way of exposing that? Because the last thing you need is a person or a member who you're endorsing, or is an endorsement by the newsouthafrica.org, who actually brings you into disrepute.
So I check the messages now and again of the people joining. And one guy today said, I am ANC and always will be. And I thought, fantastic. Nice for him to join. We're at 10,000 signups. So, 500 ANC guys not going to make any difference. It's a referendum, remember. Everything's referendum based. But we will get to a level where people have to be endorsed by trusted others. So, for example, there are probably, of the 10,000, there are probably 600, 700, 800 BizNews and Smatby and Alec and Rob friends. And you say, I endorse this person, endorse. When you've got 3 endorsements, you can invite other people. And some of these guys who are potentially Trojan horses won't get those endorsements from the right people. And so they'll just remember or be flicked out.
Who would be against this? Who's going to find this threatening?
I don't think the government will. I mean, we're funding projects they should be funding. And we're not doing anything threatening to them. And we're not saying specifically vote for DA and Action SA. But we are uniting. It's a sort of union of good people. Have a think about it that way. Look, there's no one in charge. So if they say, Rob, you're a troublemaker, we're throwing you in jail because of this, it's not going to stop this movement. It's already got massive momentum. There's no one person running it. There's no group of shareholders. It's 10,000 people, and it's going to go way higher.
So this was the action step that you were mulling over when we spoke last at the conference. How do you turn these ideas, this anger, this insane situation that South Africa finds itself at the moment, where we have people who are voted into power who then, as we saw this week, they vote themselves absolution from load shedding. So every politician is now going to have a taxpayer paid for generator at their home, so they won't feel load shedding anymore, which of course just increases the delusion of all of this.
So the average South African is not stupid. In fact, the majority of South Africans are smart and they know what's going on. They know the EFF are troublemakers, racists, and will cause trouble and cannot be part of government. The majority of South Africans. But the majority of South Africans also see the ANC for what they are today. The current ANC are a disaster. And I think it won't take much for them to stand up and say, right, this time round, we're not voting for the ANC, we're going to vote for the opposition. And, you know, the ANC can go out to pasture and fix itself. Omri Mahagole, who I love, what a great guy, said to me, Rob, I'm going to stay an ANC member. You need to know that. But it wouldn't be bad for the ANC to be out of power for a while and fix itself. And he's right. That's what the ANC needs. It needs to stare into its navel and get its act together.
So how would you classify success of this project?
Success is it will have a meaningful influence on the 2024 election by getting 55% of South Africans who didn't register or didn't vote to step up and vote. And the majority of those will vote for change. And the DA, Action SA, and all the good guys will sweep in. I mean, Helen criticized me for saying, you know, vote for the opposition, you know, don't vote for the ANC. She says that's not helpful because we get all these pop-up parties who pretend to be kingmakers. And I understand what she's saying, but I'm not in politics. I'm building this DAO. And it's a parallel organization, and it will change South Africa.
Rob Hersov, who is thinking again, and the founder, the brains behind newsouthafrica.org. It's that simple, Rob. You just go onto newsouthafrica.org, read through the values. If you agree with them, become a member. Is that it? It's really that simple.
That's it. Thank you, Alec.